right, everyone. Welcome to the Dear Talk Show. Today, before I begin, I want to go ahead. I need to put my nice little banner up here. Guys, we're talking first of all about the Texas flood survivors and their stories. But we have to get the housekeeping out of the way. This is for the Copyright Act of 1976. This is for under the section of 107 for news reporting, teaching, reality television, celebrity news, and for me, it's always that jazz. Now, I'm going to have it strolling or put it here. I don't know why it won't do a ticker, but this is a trigger warning. And I also want to go ahead and put the fair use commentary. I'm going to go ahead and get this screen set up because I want you guys to be able to hear what he has to say. Let me put this in full screen. Well, no, we can't do that because then it'll take me off. But anywho, I want you guys to be able to, his name is Jordan Steele. He's a meteorologist. He works at the Weather Center. The Weather Channel. Forgive me. He works at the Weather Channel, and he has a story of a Texas mother and her daughter, and they want to talk about how they, escaped the flood. Let's listen.
Amidst the heartbreak, there are just as many tales of incredible survival stories waiting to be told, like that of Courtney Garrison and her daughter, who rode out the flood on the roof of their general store in Hunt, Texas.
I heard lots of noise underneath us. I opened that door over there to water all the way up to my front door. We came out the bathroom window here, the patio roof right there. There was water all the way up it. This is a conversation you never think you're going to have with your 10-year-old, but the conversation was literally, Stella, if we have to jump or if we get swept away, go that way. I mean, in a matter of hours, we lost everything. It's absolutely devastating. I mean, this place was my entire life. I lived up there and I ran the store. The only thing that I can say about being from here is I hope that other places that experience disaster like this have the same type of communities supporting them as we do, because it has been nothing short of amazing.
Amidst the heartbreak.
Okay, let me go ahead and I just want to bring her up here. I just want you guys to see, like, this is the face of what's going on in Texas right here. This is what's going on. Heartbreak. Losing everything, but still holding on to hope and mankind and people being kind to them. This is really sad. Let me go ahead and stop sharing. And I want to send a huge shout out to msn.com and the Weather Channel. A huge shout out. This is where I got the stories from, the survivor stories. So the next thing, I want to go ahead and go over to TikTok, and these are multiple stories, and I want you guys, this is a sister helps rescue her 8-year-old from a camp. Camp Mystic is where there was a lot of damage. So let me go ahead and bring it.
All of a sudden we just hear somebody say,
hold on, let me just go ahead. I'm gonna start over. But I have to send these shout outs, guys. These shout outs are because it's not my commentary. And let me see, can I bring it up a little bit bigger? Yeah, it's not my commentary, and I want to be able to pay homage to where I get the information from. This is off of the TikTok page of CBS Morning. Okay. Sisters Natalie and Emily Radford say they heard screams from their homes several miles from Camp Mystic. And as the area near Texas, Guadalupe River was inundated by deadly flash floods. So let her say it in her own words.
All of a sudden, we just hear somebody say, "Help! Help!"
Sisters Natalie and Emily Rayford said they spent 20 minutes trying to pinpoint those screams. Then they said an 8-year-old girl who had floated 6 miles from Camp Mystic appeared from a pile of debris. Did you ask her what had happened? How she was able to make it?
Yeah, we asked her what happened, and she said that her cabin was flooding, and someone opened a window, and she just flew out of it.
Okay. This next story is shout out to the Weather Channel. It says here, all you can hear is the roaring of the water. Amy Maroney described her experience as the flash floods emergency unfolded in Carey County, Texas on Friday. Let's hear what she has to say.
When we woke up, it was about 5 o'clock in the morning, and the water, it was halfway up the hill to the house, and we were safe and dry, but we were staying on the porch and it's dark, and all you can hear is the roaring of the water. It was this rushing, roaring sound, and then we could hear screaming, and we were like, who is screaming? They're screaming. And one of our cousins was like, I have to go help them. We were like, but you can't see. It's dark. We can't get to them. And then we heard yelling. Once things kind of calmed down, one of our cousins was able to walk down, and he was like, it's a husband and a wife, and they're in the trees, and they're screaming to one another because their house got flooded, and I think it washed away.
It's just,
Lord have mercy. We just got to keep everybody in our prayers, y'all. Keep everybody in our prayers. Now, this is a shout out to NBC News. This is still on TikTok. This is their TikTok channel. It says Wayne Kennedy, who lost her house in the floodwaters in Texas, shares the harrowing details about her daughter survived the devastating events and was eventually airlifted to safety. And it states over here where you can see mom of Camp Mystic survivor describes the flood evacuation. Let's go.
still so hard to fathom everything that happened. We lost our home. I haven't even been able to check that out just because I have been focused on my daughter. I believe around 1:30 or 2, she heard people kind of screaming and yelling just to get out. So their counselors got them out of the cabin. And then once the water receded a bit, they then were able to come down and make it over to Camp Mystic Cypress Lake, which is the newer camp that was not, it was untouched. She's very strong. She has her moments. She did witness a dear friend of hers being swept away. So, you know, she has moments. She gets very emotional. She's also talking to her other cabin mates on a daily basis. Good. And we're just kind of all trying to get through it together.
Okay. The problem, what you guys don't know about Camp Mystic, and I wish I seen this yesterday, but I didn't save it. There were unfortunately some children that, you know, did not, let me see how I can say it. They are no longer with us. And some of the parents that were there were stating that they were helping other parents, like they were finding book bags and everything. And you guys, it's just really sad. It's truly, truly sad. But let me just keep going. I want to go to the next one. This one here. I do want you guys to hear this. Okay. Let's see here. This is not the one. I think, let me see. Do I want y'all to hear this? Okay, let me let y'all hear what she has to say. No, that's too much. Just 6 minutes. We'll go back to that one. Okay, this is the one I wanted. I wanted you guys to hear. Let me go back. This is the one I wanted you guys to hear. Shout out to Aaron Bird out front. This is her channel. And she's speaking with a survivor of Texas flash floods who witnessed a child being swept down the streams. Hashtag CNN News and different things. Oh, Lord, this is heavy. Okay.
10 minutes after you wake up, 10 minutes, your RV is totally submerged. Can you tell me exactly what happened? I mean, this happened so fast for you.
It did. It happened very fast. My husband heard some screaming outside. We had gotten an alert. He had looked out and didn't see anything, but of course it was very dark. He heard screaming, looked out and saw that the RVs on the lower level were starting to be washed away. And that's when he woke me up. And about 10 minutes later, water was already up the side of the RV, but thankfully at that point we were out. I heard this scream and it sounded like a child. And next thing I know, I see a little boy who was getting washed downstream. The power of that water was unreal. But thankfully, the next day, by some miracle, saw his face online and he ended up surviving. So I'm very, very thankful for that.
Oh my gosh, such a miracle.
Wow. I mean, I'm listening to these things as we're going along, and I was actually trying to figure out how I was going to come back on here and say something, but I'm glad she said that he was okay. Guys, this is a tough one. This is bad. I want to go back up where. Okay, let's see. Hold on, give me one moment. I want to go back to here. And I want you guys to hear once again. See, this is the CBS morning. And she says, well, she can tell you what she has to say, but a shout out. But I want you guys to hear what Gail has to say on the CBS. So let me go ahead and turn her on.
Our coverage of these devastating flash floods in Central Texas. We are so thankful that two young boys are here today to talk about how they made it out of that area safely. Their 9-year-old Braden Davis and his 7-year-old brother Brock. They were attending Camp La Junta, that's near the Guadalupe River, when the raging floodwaters started to spread. Brock and Braden are at home in Houston. They're there with their mom. You see them there, Kelly Raybon. Kelly, Brock, and Braden, thank you guys for joining us this morning. This story is so heartbreaking. It's so good to hear a little bit of good news. Kelly, why don't you start us off? When did you realize there was a problem and that your sons were in danger? How'd you get the news?
So early that morning, I received a text from the camp that said that they'd flooded overnight, but everyone was okay, but they were out of power and cell service, and so stand by for more information. It was several hours later when we got another update that it just started to sound worse. And, meanwhile, I start searching as to seeing what's going on in the hill country, and it was far worse than I would have ever imagined. So, as a mama bear, immediately I'm like, I got to get in the car and go.
And I got to get there. Braden, as we all see, things were not okay. Take us to the moment when you realized you were in trouble. What was it like for you there?
Well, for me, the whole time, I didn't really know what was going on until people came into our cabin and the director, Scott, he told us that there was a flood, but to be honest, I didn't really know what was going on.
Wow. So Braden, there wasn't water in the cabin? Water never came to the cabin?
Not for me, but Brock, that's a whole nother story.
Brock, do you want to tell them? Mm-hmm.
Brock,
Yeah.
tell us what you saw and what you heard, because Braden said there was no water in the cabin. Clearly you two weren't together. Tell us what was happening in your cabin.
When I woke up, I turned my flashlight on, and I think I saw water outside, and then we had to get on the rafters, and then a wall fall, and then my door like flew away.
Brock, that
So,
must have been very scary, Brock.
was it scary?
No.
Oh, he had to climb from initially the bottom bunk to then the top bunk and then ultimately to the rafters to try to avoid the water. And at least as a mom, that sounds quite terrifying. I think he's still
Exactly.
processing.
I know, Kelly. It's so interesting because I'm scared just listening to him. He goes, nope, it wasn't scary. Kelly, what can you tell us about? Go ahead.
He just graduated kindergarten, and so for an adult, I feel like that's terrifying. They had only been at camp for one full day at that point, so he didn't even know his cabin mates' names.
I did.
So yeah, it was definitely terrifying, and then couple that with being in the dark, I can't even imagine.
I know. Braden, were you frightened, Braden? What were you and your friends saying while all this was going on?
Well, when they were saying like cabin 6 was like in the middle of the flood, I was like, that's crazy because my little brother was in that cabin, and like I guess, Mom, I keep hearing on the news the river rose 26 feet, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and it's basically just flat ground. So imagine the water coming there, and the current is just rushing and rushing, and you have no idea what's going on. So I just imagined it for Brock. To be honest, I was more worried about Brock than myself.
Oh, I love that's what a big brother does. I love hearing that. Kelly, take us to what it was like for you, how you were reunited with your sons. How did that happen?
So, it wasn't until about 8 p.m. when we were reunited, and thankfully they were able to bring the boys to a church in Kerrville. But during the day, we're talking about a ton of boys in the heat with no power, and ultimately there was a National Guard drop with supplies at the camp. But we weren't getting very much information at all. So again, it was just super terrifying not knowing, but seeing them, I've never felt such a sense of joy and relief, while also bittersweet sadness. Because at that point I'd already heard about what was going on at some of the other places. And so, it's almost like you have this sense of survivor's guilt because you feel so much joy to see your children, but you still know that so many people are hurting and desperately looking for theirs.
I know, Kelly. I keep thinking about that too. And Mother Nature is no joke, and she reminds us time and time again. And I'm wondering, I would imagine you'll all hold each other extra tight today. But what is your bottom line message to the people who are watching this story? What do you want us to know?
Well, I think we're grateful for everyone's interest in this story. And I think we just need more prayers. Please just embrace this entire, there are kids from around the country that go to these camps. And so many are really hurting right now. And so we just ask that the entire country just really wrap us in your love and your prayers.
Yes, we can do that. As parents who send our kids to camp, we can all relate to this story on some level. Kelly, Ray Bond, we thank you. Braden and Brock, we're glad you guys are okay. Thank you guys for taking time with us this morning.
Okay. The first thing is that this one person, I'm gonna just read one because that was pretty lengthy video. Why can't we leave these poor kids alone? Brock looks like he doesn't even want to do this and wants to cry. She's holding him there. You can tell. This is, as she's saying, this is exploitation of children. Leave the traumatized children alone. I saw these boys on another news station too. She is fully taking advantage. I mean, listen, I understand what you're saying, but that's their mom. And if that's what she wants to do, then that's what she wants to do. For me, let me take that one off. For me, imagine sending your child to camp and she was close. She's right there. But like she said, they come from all over. So either have to drive hours or catch a plane or whatever the case may be. And then you get there and you're looking for your child, you're looking for your baby. And you get the dreaded news because, like she said, she's having survivor guilt. And it wasn't just the children, it was other people. And I'm just going to do some more research because I want to find out, why was there no warning? Why? I mean, I know Mother Nature, like, has it not flooded like that before in that area? Um, did they not, were they not able to predict the amount of rain? Because a lot of times they tell, like in most areas, they tell us like how much rain is coming. And I know you can't predict that, but it just sounds like something else is, it sounds like something, was a dam nearby? Was it something? I don't know, but they saying 26 feet. I don't know. Y'all tell me what y'all think. Y'all tell me what y'all think. And I'm not gonna go. I'm gonna stop sharing. I'm not going to go into any more videos because I'm 20 some minutes in. This was a hard one. You know, for me, we have to keep not just the flood victims and survivors in our prayers. You have people out there still surviving from the fires that happened in California. You having earthquakes, you know, and like they said, Mother Nature, but also it's like I don't even know, like, because I know FEMA is dismantled allegedly, but are these people going to be able to get some type of resources? Will they get any help to for arrangements for their loved ones with, you know, that was unfortunately unalive by these floods? It's just a lot. It's a lot, and I'm going to go ahead and get off of here because I'm really getting in my feelings. And I especially oh my goodness, the little one, you know, Brock, and you know, the mom that was talking about her daughter is still, I mean, these kids had friends that they know that they're no longer with us. Some of these kids know that they're friends. Imagine seeing a child being swept and you hear them screaming and you can't help them. Lord, Lord, I know that there are many lessons that have to be learned. But the only thing I can say to all of my listeners, please keep everyone in your prayers, not just with this flood, just for these, we don't know what's going to come with these storms that are coming. It's storm season, eventually starting hurricane season. Make sure you guys stay prepared. Make sure you have your generators, your lights. Make sure you try to have an emergency fund so you could, if you can, put money to the side, you know, because a lot of these insurance, some of them don't cover acts of nature. Like if, let's say you have homeowners insurance or renter insurance, you better make sure you read those clauses, because depending on how the water comes in, you may not be covered. You know, you may not be covered because they call it an act of nature. So just try to have at least 2 to 3 months put back, or if more, to a financial, so you and your family can be at a place where you can at least just have the basic essentials, because the way things are going now, even some of the shelters are, you know, not receiving what they need. Okay, guys, until next time, I love you all, and peace and soul. Mwah.